Let's take a moment and talk about a topic that has become somewhat controversial on Comic Talk. And that topic is, of course, using guidebooks when debating and discussing characters. Now, I personally do not use guidebooks when it comes down to making videos, having discussions, or having debates. I prefer to pull from the source material itself, the comics. And the discourse that has gone on between people that like using guidebooks and people that do not like using guidebooks has become heated, for lack of a better term. And the funny thing is because I have no dog in this fight, the fact that I don't really care if people use guidebooks or not allows me to see both sides of the argument. See, I have no problem with someone using a guidebook, provided it falls under one condition, which is that whatever you present from the guidebook, that you can support with the source material. I have no problem with someone taking a guidebook that says that Batman knows and perfected every fighting style. Because here's the thing, with a statement like that from a guidebook, you can look up all the teachers and masters Batman has had to support that. You can look at all the statements that have been said that Batman is a master of all martial arts. On top of that, you can take all the people, high-level martial artists that Batman has fought and beaten, and use that to support the statement from the guidebook that Batman has perfected all martial arts, and feel confident because the source material supports the statement in the book. But here's the thing, that brings us to why people like using guidebooks. See, not every character has the statements or the fights or the masters or the training that Batman does. And when characters have less source material to draw upon to reach a conclusion on where they stand, people use guidebooks to try to fill in that gap. This is their thought process, not mine, which ultimately comes down to their defense of using the guidebooks. If there was enough source material to draw upon for this character to say that they're A, B, and C, then they wouldn't have to use the guidebooks. But here's the thing, I understand the non-using guidebooks argument. The biggest one is that many of these guidebooks are licensed to other publishers. So they're not published by Marvel or DC. They're simply licensed to these publishers. So the validity of the information can be a little murky in a gray area. On top of that, particularly with Marvel, the information does change from time to time. Which brings to their defense, which is, if this is inconsistent information and it's not published by the company, why use it? Why not just stick to the source material? My answer to both of them is this. If you want to use a guidebook to fill in the gaps because there's not enough source material, well, then it should be easy for you to debunk or refute the information that they're providing because the source material is that weak. On the flip side, if you don't like them using guidebooks and you don't think that they're valid enough, then use the source material to prove them wrong. Which goes back to my opinion on how I feel about guidebooks, is that they're only good for me if that the statements in the guidebooks are supported by the source material. If the guidebook information is so wrong, prove that it's wrong. And if they don't have enough from the source material to support their claim, show them that they don't have enough to support their claim. But hey, I have no dog in this fight. I'll just stick to doing what I do because I feel confident in what I do. But I have nothing against either of those two opinions. But I am curious to know yours. Please comment, stitch, or duet. I want to know what your thoughts on guidebooks are. Is it black and white? Don't use them, or are you somewhere in that gray area? Let me know.